What's going on? Got Clark Burkle and myself here with Outside Smoke.
Yep. Another episode.
Another one. We're back. I'm sure you guys have been missing it. We got Goggle Bros going now.
Yep. We've got a couple of special things going on.
Yeah.
We're really maturing as a couple of guys talking about swimming here.
Yeah, we don't have goggles on right now. We've been watching too much swimming, so we're going to leave the goggles to the other people. We got a special guest today.
Yep.
Got Nathan Adrian here on board.
The one and only.
One of the first people to make the world team for 2017.
Yep. 100 freestyle.
100 free. 47.90.
96.
By 100.
Came home
taking
like
home
a
the
firestorm.
Gold. Did.
Yep.
He did. So we're going to talk to him a little bit, see what he's doing out in Indy.
Awesome. Nathan, what's up, man?
Hey, guys. What's up?
Not much. Just excited to have you on here. Thanks for joining us.
No problem. Thanks for having me. Great.
So, today we want to talk obviously a little bit about the fact that you had a great swim last night. You've made another world championship team. It's great for you to get down under that 48 barrier, but also we want to kind of ask you a couple questions about your past year. It's been a pretty eventful one. There's been some changes in your life, all the way from, I know when I saw you last, I think you were living in the city, so you were commuting over to Berkeley for practice, so you're dealing with, I don't think traffic too bad because you're taking BART, I think, but, in addition to that, you've also been engaged, and you're going on, I'd say, you made your first Olympic team in 2008, so going on a decade here of being a pretty consistent guy on the international scene for us and probably the best American sprinter out there. So I know I just gave you a mouthful, but I'd love to hear a little bit about what's been going through your head here the past year and some of these changes as well.
Yeah, it's been different. This last year has definitely been a lot different. Like you said, I do live out in the city now. Depending on what day it is and what time I have to commute, sometimes it's faster driving, sometimes it's faster taking BART. Bay Area traffic and that Bay Bridge can be kind of a beast sometimes. Other than that, it's the college team and some of the other guys. It was business as usual. They were training their butts off. Really, going at it. This year for me, I because I lived across the water, I had to do a lot more practicing on my own, which was different, but it was a lot of fun. I tried to do some research on how people are training these days, what kind of changes I can make, what I can do, and what I can do well on my own, because I think, everybody reacts differently to being in a training group, and it definitely helps most people, having someone else next to you, pushing you each and every day. But, when you're on your own, you just got to change it up to make it more, efficient or more effective for you, I guess. But besides that, yeah, I got engaged this last year. I got a cat as well. So that's also different.
We've seen the cat on your Instagram stories and I think your Snapchat stories. It's been a pretty premium feature there.
Yeah, a few times.
Yeah, man. It's like I have more pictures of my cat than anything on my phone these days.
That's how it happens when you get a pet. They just start popping up all over the place.
Awesome. Well, let's touch a little bit on that training alone thing. That's pretty interesting. I know we've seen a couple of sprinters do it in the past, but when you say that, it takes a lot of dedication because you're not just doing the 50. And last night we saw that you had a ton of endurance, which, is pretty amazing considering that, sometimes you're doing those practices on your own and it's really hard to stay focused and dedicated.
Yeah. It is only Mondays and Friday mornings usually. And those days are usually more soft volume, at least on Monday mornings, and then Friday mornings more of a kick set day. But the cool thing about doing it on my own was that I could kind of change it, right? So say I just felt really good on Monday, why not push it a little more, right? Why not try to hit some pace stuff? Why not try to we have it's at the Olympic Club and we have some great pace clocks that are digital, so I can leave on the zero and then touch and see what my time is, whatever. It's really nice. It's pretty specific. So try to hit some paces for that short course meters work. And then Friday mornings, usually those are the days that, I'm dragging from a long week. So a lot of times I have to make my own kind of kick set. And if I feel good, I'll go for it. If not, then I try to, back it up, pump the brakes a little bit so I can be really good for Friday afternoon and then Saturday afternoon or Saturday morning, which is always our quality day.
Yeah, so we got a lot of young guys. We were talking to you before the show. a lot of new faces and a lot of guys that are getting up and going in prelims. So talk a little bit about how it's changed. I guess the
new guard.
Yeah, the sprinting demographic and how that's impacted how you have to approach these meets.
Oh, totally, man. I think we saw it at NCs the last 2 years. I remember 2016 being like, man, that's crazy. Like, how is it going to get faster? But then, come 2017, they managed it. They figured it out.
Right.
And a lot of those guys are the guys I'm competing against now in the A final. I'm competing for spots in the A final, right? So they kind of take that NCAA mentality where you have to get up and go in the morning, and you can't just kind of, cruise through it and do what you need to do. I think actually it also is a little bit dependent on the event. I think in the 100 freestyle, there was just enough guys that there was going to be some fast guys that are left on the sidelines. And then, there's a couple other events where, maybe the top dogs are, a little bit, they've separated themselves a little more, and they can probably, to go a little bit easier. I think the 2 breasts, for instance, there's 5 guys that are just so incredible, but it drops off just a little bit after those top 5.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, we were talking about the 200 breasts this morning, and saying that there could be, 3 guys that go 208 and don't make the team.
I think there's going to be a group of them under 208. I think that's going to be an incredible race tonight. Yeah. It's shocking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be nuts. So Nathan, back to your race strategy a little bit. Last night you were 6 at the 50, which, you've been working on this new strategy. We've heard a little bit about the back half, but that's kind of an unfamiliar place. I know personally when I was racing, if I was like a little bit too far off at the halfway mark, I'd freak out. And I didn't always know if I could make a comeback, So, how do you keep that patience? How do you know in the back of your head, well, I'm going to come back faster than Townley Haas, who's an incredible 200 freestyle, 500 freestyler. I'm going to come back faster than Caeleb Dressel, who we saw go 147.3 this morning. You've outsplit them all by almost a half second.
You going 28.0, 27.0 or something on his
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah.
That's I don't. The answer is I don't. I don't know I'm going to come back faster than those guys. I know what my race strategy is, and I know what I need to do to execute that. And I also know how I can totally blow it. Just doing something stupid like just riding my legs out the first 25. That'll just completely blow it for me. So those are the things that I know, and I think it just honestly comes with experience. Like you said, I've been, competing for spots on the national team for coming on a decade now, and I know that the less that I look around and try to predict what other people's race strategies are, the better off I am and the more focused I am on what I'm doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw you say something similar to that in your interview. You said, if I had looked over, I would have lost the race.
Yeah, 100%.
It was, it was by 1/100th. It's
like a horse with blinders on.
Yeah.
Exactly. What's the point? Like, why would you ever do that? Like, again, maybe that's something that's come with age, but like the patience to have, and don't get me wrong, I've fallen to this before too. I've looked accidentally, but you just got to stay in that line for an extra 1/10 of a second, and then you got to look up on the board and figure it out, because what's your eyeballs going to judge? A lot of times you're wrong anyway.
Yeah,
true.
Yeah, so there was another great 100 freestyle race that you once won by 100th of a second.
That's true.
Back in the day. So what do you think helps you finish so well? I know you put your head down, you go straight arm, you really drive into the wall, but everybody in that heat's doing that. And you're blasting past a bunch of guys that are finishing with a ton of momentum.
Yeah, it's catching on.
Yeah, is that something you work in practice every time you go into the wall? For all those younger guys watching younger gals, tell us about those finishes that you're working on.
All right, I got 2 points for you. One, yes, I work on it every day. And actually, one of the things that Dave does great in practice is we have a day where it's just all power and just like these little 15-meter efforts where it's exactly like I just described. Dave is the one who calls the winner, and we go 15 meters in or 12.5 in, or we do a jump start swim to 15, and he calls whose head passes 15 first. And these are the kind of things that we're winning by only this much, and it's really it's his eye that catches it. So I'm not going to be looking over. That just kind of brings it into my brain. Hey, there's no point in looking over. It doesn't matter. You can only focus on trying to be as fast as you can. Second point, I have also lost by 100th of a second. It's just no one knows because I didn't medal in those races. So to young kids everywhere, don't think that just because I've won several races by 100th of a second doesn't mean I haven't been on the other side. But, certainly being on the other side of that made me really realize how important having good finishes is.
Awesome. Yeah, so you would definitely say that you learn more when you get touched out than when you win by 1/100, right?
Oh yeah. It's 2011. It's very vivid in my mind. It's 2011.
Those stick with you. Yeah. No,
yeah. Caesar beat us all by a bunch, and I think it was a lane, and then it was an Italian guy. I don't know if it was Dotto or Orsi, but I was 1/100th out of bronze, and then 2/100ths out of silver.
Yeah, the Italians are always so sneaky on that second 50. They really are. They're so sneaky. Starting with Filippo Magnini, this little negative split hundreds.
He's kind of the OG of that, huh?
Yeah, he really is. So that kind of takes us to our next topic, which is that 4x100 freestyle relay. This will be like the first time in how long you haven't had like a Phelps or a Lochte on there. So, you're really going to be all eyes on you as far as the leadership role and as far as like bringing home the fastest split, most likely. How excited does that get you, and how, what kind of shivers does that send down your spine for going into the behind the blocks with all those younger guys and with these guys that are really looking up to you and really trying to continue that American gold medal trend?
Yeah.
So I don't really look at it as any extra weight on my shoulders. I'm still just a quarter of that piece of that puzzle, and again, we're really lucky being Americans to all have gone through the collegiate process. We've all had important relay legs that we've had to swim, so it's nothing out of the ordinary for us. So I guess my job as one of the older guys is to kind of explain that to them. Say, hey man, this is no different than an NCAA final. We're just trying to get out there and go out there with 4 really, really good guys, and we're just trying to win. And as for how excited I am, I mean, I can't tell you. It's really fun, seeing how fast these guys have gone. But again, we've seen tons of times where the people that have the fastest splits on paper lose. Right. So we're definitely going to take that into account as we start our preparations and coming together for a team.
Absolutely. And then we also talked, well, obviously we talked a lot about how deep the meet is. It almost took a 48 to A final. It was a 49-0, I think was 8th. Is that right?
I think.
Yeah.
So you've got 7 guys that are 48, and then I think making the team was like a 48-4. So how much does having those 4 guys in prelims, obviously able to lock up a spot and do so without you really even having to think about it? How do you think that plays into, America's, obviously our trend in
dominance?
I didn't want to go that far, but yeah.
Dominance. I mean, certainly that's the goal. There's no doubt about that. But again, it's we don't want to go into it with any sort of complacency. Right. Whatever 4 guys step up on those blocks, I hope they're competing for a spot on finals. I hope that they're not satisfied with just being a prelim swimmer, because that's how I was in 2008. I just didn't make it.
Right.
So, I think that with that mindset, we're just going to be fine.
Yeah.
Awesome. And Nathan, final question. I know you're a busy man over there. On the way over to Budapest and on every international trip that you take, you're probably pressed for space. So how does somebody as tall as yourself deal with all this international travel? And if you give any tips out there to some of those younger swimmers, I know we had a 7-footer in the 100 freestyle yesterday.
Which
if he's not 7 foot, he's 6'11". That's for sure.
Yeah.
so tell us how you deal with that.
I think the biggest tip for me. Okay, so here's one thing, right? It's tough being tall. It's tough being big. It's tough having big feet because our shoes are so huge.
I'm 0 for 3 on those.
Yeah.
When my fiance goes to New York, she's like, "Oh yeah, I packed like 3 different pairs of shoes or 4 different pairs of shoes," and then she packs all these outfits. I'm like, "How in the world does that all fit? Like 3 pairs of shoes takes up almost my entire bag." But then I look at it and they're like, just this big or whatever. So, I think rolling my clothes definitely helps.
Yeah.
It's funny. I filled out my World Championship selection form, and it asks who my preferred roommates are going to be, and they give you 3 lines of who your preferred roommates would be. So I put Matt Grievers, and Matt Grievers. So certainly rooting for that guy. I'd love to see him back on the team with me.
That'll be a pretty tall room.
Yeah, seriously. For sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks for joining us. You got the 50 free coming up. Feels like probably a long time from now, but it's going to come up pretty quickly. Mm-hmm. Looking forward to seeing that one. Just one length of the pool there, so probably a little bit of a different race strategy, to say the least. But thanks for joining us. We're looking forward to watching that.
Great.
Great.
Thank you, Nathan.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, thanks, man. Cool.
Awesome. Well, I mean, you heard it there. He's putting the blinders on, and he's focused on staying in his own race, and he is mature. He is learned how to do these races. He's had a ton of experience, and I mean, it's pretty cool to see that. You know, he's been a bellwether on our team for the past 10 years.
Yeah,
so.
we were talking about that earlier. He's probably the longest running, consistent, great American sprinter.
Exactly.
I mean, he's been around forever. He's always that go-to guy on the end of the relay, on the end of the 4x1 medley. I mean, in Rio, you know, it was a pretty close relay on the 4x1, the medley, and then Adrian jumped in and pretty much just laid down the hammer, and he was like, "See you guys."
Exactly.
I mean, it's pretty incredible what he's done. And people keep talking about it. He throws down 47 highs more than anybody in the world, I would say. Just 47 high, 47.8, 47.7 all the time. And that's got to help making these teams. You can just do it over and over and over. So I think he's got a little bit more in the tank as we move forward.
I think he definitely does. Yeah. And, you know, he's grown in his personal life as well, you know, getting engaged and moving to the city, training on his own. I mean, but still keeping that consistency is, yeah, exactly. But is pretty remarkable, especially given how many athletes suffer through the Olympic hangover the following year. So
yeah, it's tough.
Pretty cool to see.
He's luckily gone through it enough times that I think he's pretty much got it down to a system. So that's good. But I mean, we also brought up, you know, we got a lot of other good races tonight. I mean, my favorite.
Let's go over a few of those real quick.
My favorite's got to be the 200 breast. That one's just going to be absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
We had 208, 208. Or was it 1-208 or?
So there's 208.6, and then we had
like 5 guys on
209, like 3 guys 209.2, 1 209.3. I think what I'm most excited to see is in that race is, you know, I talked to Kevin briefly after his Olympics race, and he just said that he held back too much.
Yeah.
And talked to him briefly this morning after prelims, and I kind of told him, I said, let it rip. And so I hope he does, because I think Andrew Wilson will go right there, and I think Prino will push it out too. Prino's American record splits 101 too. I think we might see some guys in the 00 low range and really push on that. Hopefully, you know, push on that 207 low, maybe get into some 6s, because you know Prino's going to back half, and I mean, obviously can't count out Will.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing. Like we've got 5 guys that we could talk about here for a while. Will obviously got 3rd at the Olympic trials. People won't let that one go. So he's got a little bit of aggression, I'm sure. He's going to get out there, and he's not going to leave anything in the pool. But, I mean, we could see 206, 207, 207, 207, 208. We could see any combination of those 3 numbers in any different set of, you know, we could see 2 people go 206. We've had Pernod 207.1, and there's no reason that Cortez and Lacone and, I mean, Wilson was at 208.7 or something this morning.
Yeah, 208.6.
I mean, it's going to be like probably the fastest 200 breaststroke final in American history. Yeah, absolutely.
Deepest heat period.
And then we talked to Nathan about the 100 free. It almost took a 48 to make the A final. I mean, we have, and I think we had a couple, no, they were like 49.0. Then we had a 17-year-old go 49.4 in the C final.
Yep.
I mean, it's just depth on depth on depth of this meet. So what else do we have tonight? We have the women's 200 free.
Well, yeah, 200 free will be really interesting to watch, women and men. I think on women, it won't be any surprise to see, you know, who's going to step up and race fast in that. It's going to be across the board really solid. Yeah. It'll be really cool to see what Mallory does, obviously. But I think in the men's 200 free, and maybe I've got some skin in the game, but my old roommate from 2012, Connor Dwyer, snuck in 8th. And I would love to see him kind of punch in there and set the pace as kind of the mature guy in the field. And then obviously Townley Haas is going to, I mean, do something crazy. Clark Smith. I mean, these finals are stacked. I mean, maybe on the top end they're not super close to world records, but there's going to be some of the fastest textile finals we've ever seen.
I mean, yeah, the 200 free is going to be nuts on both sides. Ledecky was a 155 in the prelims. We saw Townley was a 146. I think all of those guys are going to go faster. And then we saw Colin Jones in the 50 fly.
Yeah.
23-26.
Yeah.
And then we've got Dressel. Who else do we have in that? Dressel. Shields.
Giles Smith. GPS.
Who got 3rd in that one?
Let's see. I'm pulling up total ranking now.
There was like Michael Andrew was
Phillips,
like a 23-5.
We had Ryan Held snuck in their 8th.
23-9 to 23-2.
Tom Shields in 7th. That's going to be a great final.
That's going to be an awesome final.
So, yeah, all around some good stuff tonight.
Yeah, I mean, all of these nights are going to be pretty good, but this is one of the ones I'm most excited for. We might be a little bit biased because of the 200 breaststroke tonight. So that's always a fun one to watch for 200 breaststrokers. But, I mean, it's going to be awesome. We've got a couple relays or a couple events, rather, where we're going to see who's going to make a relay or not. So top 6 make it. Yeah, it's going to be good.
Absolutely.
Well, and then we've got the 200 breast for the women. So
Yeah,
we've got
there's some good
there's some good heat up there in the top. We got Lily King, obviously. Who was the top seed? It wasn't
Katie Miley, Lily King.
Oh, she did take first.
I don't think Katie was first. I'll pull it up now. I'm just kind of running off some of the top 8.
It's like 224, 225, 225.
Might have been the Texas A&M lady. No, Lily's first. Yeah, then
Okay.
Bethany Galat, Katie
Yeah.
Miley, Andrea Cottrell. Well, how about those Louisville Cardinals? They're having a heck of a meet.
They are.
Miranda Tucker,
Comerford
Bria
just
Larson.
crushed the 53-second mark yesterday. 52.8.
Yeah, it's crazy.
That was nuts. She kind of fired a warning shot over there to Shoystrom, who we saw just lighting it up at Mare Nostrum. And then there's the 200 back for the men. Got like 7 guys that were already 157. You got to think Murphy will go faster than that. Pebbly's been, I think, 156, 155 before, something around there.
Yep, for sure.
It's going to be a lot of fast swimming. I'm excited to see what Murphy can do in the 200.
Yeah, they'll go. I think him and Pebbly will 1-2. I think they both were taking a bath this morning.
Yeah, it's hard to imagine a scenario when those 2 guys can't pull it off. They did it at the Olympics, so looking to back that one up with a World Trials or a World Championships trip.
For sure.
So it's going to be good. It's going to be good.
Absolutely.
Got your fidget spinner going? We were obsessing over the fact that if you watch it, it's spinning one direction, and it's going to spin the other way. Well, if Clark's moving around too much to notice, but yeah, so wait. It's going to go the other way. Wait.
That's too slow now.
Oh, it was about to do it.
It'll do it here quick.
All right, so we're going to the right now. Keep your eye on it. It's going to randomly, now we're going left. Just nuts.
On that note.
And with that, we're going to end the show. Make sure to stay tuned to FloSwimming on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, all that stuff.
We'll be, I don't know. Are you going to go live again tonight for – Kyle might go live for finals.
I might go live for finals.
He accepts all challenges, comments, just notes on any of the races. So tune in for that if he does do it. If he doesn't, I'm sure he'll do it again at some point in time during the meet.
We'll see if I'm live. If I am, it'll be right on our Facebook page. But we'll be doing a lot of other stuff just surrounding coverage. So stay tuned. Tweet us. Comment us on Facebook.
Watch our interviews. We've got Macklin Simpson over there at the meet. He's getting some great interviews.
Yeah.
Posting them all to the site. Just interact with us any way possible. It's great. We love it.
Yeah, it's going to be a great night of racing. We always respond. We always love to interact with you guys. So stay tuned and enjoy a fast night of racing. Night 2 finals from the Phillips 66 National Championships, a.k.a. World Trials.
Yep.
Outside Smoke is out. See ya.